Hello there, welcome back, and I hope this camera setting is going to be much better. So I'm experimenting with the new camera, so hopefully today I'm shooting on a manual mode, and I hope this picture quality will be better compared to the one that you saw of the Indie review. Right, so let's get into the fragrance itself. So on this particular channel, you get fragrance related reviews every week, 3 times. Mostly it could be Indian houses, Middle Eastern, and a lot of other stuff as well. So if you like fragrance related content, so hit the like button, subscribe, and share. So today we are going to review this fragrance from the house of Dumont. So we've done two Dumonts already. We did the red and we did the green, and today we have the Nitro Intense. So if you want to talk about this particular fragrance, or if you want to think about buying this, or if you're a fan of a very popular fragrance in the world and you kind of like that DNA, then this is a video that you must definitely watch. So let's get going on this particular video. So we'll talk about the Dumont Nitro Intense, right? So you're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get going right after this intro. Alright, so welcome back, and let's get the formalities done. Let's just basically very quickly talk about the box. So the box looks very basic. It's the Dumont Nitro black colored box, and it has got the Nitro and the Intense written, and at the back you have the hallmark, you have a little bit of a barcode, all that information, and a little bit of the content or the contents used in this particular fragrance. This is again a made in UAE, and that's about it. Very basic box, but it's pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. Okay, but let's talk about the bottle, because the bottle is where all the magic is. And first of all, it's a very dark bottle. Okay, so dark that the leatherette that's there on this also is extremely dark. So at times when you pick it up, you don't really know which side is the top up. So it actually talks about Nitro Intense being there, and then there is this tag that also talks about the Nitro being there. So very nicely done, and the cap is also got the entire Nitro element. So on the whole, it's very easy to get confused with this particular bottle and the other ones that they have, but a very easy way to identify yourself as to know whether this is the black or the Intense is by looking at the cap. So if you notice, this particular bottle and the cap is black in color, so the cap is black, whereas the other fragrances that we have, which is the green or the red, they have a golden cap. Okay, so that's one way to know that this is the Intense version and not the the standard edition or the black version, right? The other thing is the cap. Okay, the cap is very heavy on this one, pretty hefty, good cap. It's got that Nitro thing going. Again, like I said, pretty nice. Overall, I would say that they've done a fab job in terms of the build quality of a fragrance bottle, right? So very good elements all the way. Very nice, very easy to touch, hold, and I will talk about the spray as well. This is a 100 ml Eau de Parfum concentration bottle, and let's do a quick spray to see how it actually sprays. Okay, so it does punch a pretty good amount of juice, and can actually see my hand, you will see that it's a pretty big area as well, right? So it's a nice fragrance. First of all, let's talk about the scent profile, right? This is a scent profile that you will actually enjoy, because this is one of the world's most popular DNAs as such, and they have gone ahead and done a tweak on this particular DNA to a slight extent, right? So what do you get? You get a very nice fruity opening of a smoky pineapple. You have some blackcurrant, you have some citruses coming across, and then in the overlay you have a bit of plumaceous elements, like tart elements, like you have rose, you have jasmine, you have plum. Then you have woody elements, you have oak moss, you have woody notes as such. But one change that you would notice immediately is that you will notice that this particular fragrance also talks about cognac as a note. It talks about myrrh, and it also talks about the cognac, cinnamon, and myrrh. These are three new ingredients that you would kind of notice on their website, right? Now, anybody who knows blackcurrant, anybody who knows pineapple, smoke, all of this, you immediately know that this is a DNA of the popular Creed Aventus, and it is absolutely so. So this particular fragrance is trying to imitate the Creed Aventus, but in a different way, in a slightly different way is what I would say. Why? Because this smoky element that's there on this particular one. So the Intense is more about the smokier smoky pineapple based Aventus, whereas the black that they have is apparently the fruitier version of the Aventus, right? So predominantly, if you're a new if you're new into fragrances and if you've been trying to get an alternate of Aventus, the popular debate has always been in batches. So some people like more smoky batch of pineapple that is more roast smoked, and it's got that smoky barbecue type of an element which people absolutely love. Then there are people who don't like that, and they actually like a fruity pineapple version which is more of the fruitier type, right? So these are two different types of people who like two different type of DNA. Now this particular fragrance, the Intense, falls in that segment where you like that nice smoky pineapple with a good amount of blackcurrant, a little bit of that fruity apple undertones, good amount of rose, jasmine that's playing at the back end, and then of course added sweetness because of the cinnamon, and of course the smoky element also coming from the myrrh, and of course the woody elements on this particular fragrance, giving that amazing beautiful texture of a lovely fragrance, right? Now having said that, why does it say that it is intense? So the intense is probably definitely because of the smoky element, but also another note to observe is the punch that this particular fragrance has. I have tried the red, the green, and the black, like I said, and I always, have high regard for the green, because the green is JPG, John Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male, La Male, and all of that put together, and that packs a punch. Well, this one knocks out that as well in terms of the performance, right? Now, one of the best things about this particular fragrance, of course, is the scent profile, which is very, very good. Second is the performance, which is superb. Okay, now when I say superb, it does really good. For example, I wore this last Sunday when I went to Mangalore, and the temperature was about 39 degrees and the humidity was crazy high. I put it on at about 11:30 in the morning, and in that heat, my shirt, my undergarment, everything was soaking wet. In spite of that heat, in spite of that humidity, this fragrance did about 5 hours easily. So about till 4:30, I could still smell it on my shirt. And whenever I went near a fan to cool myself, I could get the fragrance whiff. So very, very good that way in high heat, high humidity. I wore it to office today, and you can just do about 6 to 8 sprays, and it's superb because it lasts like at least about 8 to 9 hours easily. Even in that 8 to 9 hours, where this particular fragrance or any of the Dumont line, that really does well is the way in which it projects. Okay, now obviously it projects for about 3 feet plus. Okay, that's a given radius, but for how long? Whereas fragrances tend to fade away in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe an hour and 20, 30 minutes tops. These fragrances top at least for about 2 to 3 hours easily. More than 2.5 to 3 hours, it projects really, really well. Now, even after that, 5th hour, 6th hour, also when you smell the fragrance, it's not like it goes skin close, it smells really nicely. Whereas another fragrance would say that it's a loud fragrance, that's where this particular fragrance stands even after 5 to 6 hours, right? So this is, in a way, you can think about as good fragrances that are just above the loud and the beast mode category. So if you're if you've been having these friends who say I want a fragrance which should be in budget, I want a fragrance that lasts long, I want a fragrance that complements, I want a fragrance that is loud, it needs to be known to everybody, well, here's your answer. This is it. This is what you need to kind of get if you want all of those things, because you get this for about 2,600 to 2,800, so that is taken care of. You do get compliments because it's one of the world's most popular fragrances, DNAs to get compliments. You get superb performance, lasts for about 8-9 hours easily, which is more than you can ask for, because this one's 8-9 hour lasting is like 2x of a regular fragrance, which most of the fragrances do about 4 to 5 hours, and mostly after the second, third hour mark, they get to skin close. This one still works very well for about 5 hours and then starts to become a little more softer, right? So from all of those fronts, performance, projection, CRs, scent profile, all of them, this one ticks all those boxes. Now, the question will be definitely like, is this better than Club de Nuit Intense, limited edition or Parfum edition, or is it better than, Afnan's not only Intense, Supremacy not only Intense, or any of the other Aventus alts out there, like the Hamidi Intense and all of that. Now, the thing to notice here is, all of the other ones, okay, be it Club de Nuit Intense, whether it is Hamidi Intense, all of them, they are exact clones of Club de Nuit, the Creed Aventus, right? Now the variation could be in Hamidi is more citrusy dominant, whereas Club de Nuit is more pineapple. Again, there are variations in that also. But then This is also on the same lines in terms of how it is with regards to a smoky pineapple option. But the thing is that there is an added cognac note to it, which is a boozy note to it, which is not very evident in my opinion. It feels more like a leather note, to be very honest, and it is a linear fragrance on the whole. Whereas most of the other fragrances, they tend to change notes. They start with something and then they become more woody and then become more dry. In the dry down, they become a little more dense, you can say. But this is a dense fragrance all throughout, right? From the starting to the end, this is linear, okay? So that is the only con side or the flip side about this particular fragrance. This is a linear fragrance from the start to end. So even in the last minute, you will still be able to smell this particular fragrance from that roasted pineapple, blackcurrant, all of that element is still something that you will get towards till the very end, and you don't really get a note change. So that's the only con side of this particular fragrance. Aside to this, can you wear this at any given point of time? Absolutely yes. This is a versatile fragrance. It can be worn across the year, across occasions, for celebrations, parties, anything that you want. You want a loud fragrance, you want an Aventus Alt, you want a DNA that's very popular and that can get you compliments. Well, simply go ahead and get this. This is superb, right? So I actually like this particular fragrance more than I thought, because initially when I thought, okay, how many Aventus clones can be there and can you really like all of them? Will it really stand apart? But yes, this one is really, really good. In fact, I think all the three that we have tested, be it the red, which is very good, that is probably the most least favorite of my of the three that I've tried. The green is the absolute best that I enjoyed. This is really, really good as well. So all three are really good, and I can tell you that as a house, this is one of those houses, I think, where all the fragrances that they launch are super performers. Something like Ahmad Al Maghrabi as well, where Ahmad Al Maghrabi definitely has got much higher concentration and they're made in the UAE, but these are made in France, but still perform like really, really good. So basically, these are fragrances that you can think about them as good performers, okay? Now, another flip side, I would say, of this particular fragrance is that this is, because this is an intense version, this is very dense. So from the moment you put it on, it's a very dense fragrance. You will notice it when you smell it that it's a very thick kind of a fragrance all throughout, and that probably explains why this lasts so long and why it projects so much. But the original Creed Aventus is very light and very airy, and some of the other oils that are there are more airy and lighter, like the Club de Nuit Intense Parfum Edition. But this is very, very dense in my opinion. So that can be a con, or it can be a a positive thing at the same time, because people who want a loud fragrance, who want something to be heard and felt, then you can definitely take it as a good thing. But from a scent profile point of view, if you think about the quality of the fragrance, then it can be taken as a slight con, which is a little dense. But aside to that, nothing at all to be worried about this particular fragrance. You can simply go ahead and get it, right? On the whole, I absolutely enjoy this particular fragrance. In fact, all three of them, this is a superb fragrance to consider if you like the Aventus DNA, right? So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe and share, and you can definitely try all of these fragrances. We do have them in decants, so definitely try them before you want to buy them, right? So we'll see you on another video. Until then, take care. Bye now.